for being here. I always want to make sure that I thank you properly and express my gratitude that you would share your time and your space and your energy to be with me. And so I am grateful and I say thank you. Today I want to talk about this idea of why must I feel like I have to keep it all together? Show my polished self, not let people see the cracks, let people see the mistakes. Why is it that I only want to portray that I have it all together? And I've thought about that, and I know that for my own life, a lot of that old conditioning that I have had to unwind, that had me look at my own life through this lens of outcome and results only, and focusing on making sure that the outcome, the final package, that's what was most important. And now I know that no, it's the inside that also matters. So I'm not saying that the outside never matters, it's just the and. And I did share a little bit about and a little bit ago with you all about why there's room for an and. And in this case, making space to embrace, acknowledge, and fully go into the fact, the truth, the reality that I do not have it all together. And that because I am still living and breathing, I am still learning and growing, and I will fall and I'll get back up. Sometimes I need the help of other people to help me get back up. Sometimes I can pop right back up on my own. And other times I'm tempted with wanting to just stay in the place of heartbreak, heartache, anguish, embarrassment, humiliation, longer than maybe what is fruitful. But eventually it all works out. Thankfully, because I've opened myself up to the understanding that it is okay. One of my favorite quotes that I say is that all is well and more well than can be imagined. And it does not always feel that way. That's not what the quote says. But the all means that even when I feel as though I should just stop, that it's just not worth it, that it's just too hard, I'm reminded that that experience is part of the all. And what's interesting is that when I really reflect, and I want you to reflect too, I want you to really think about where were the times and when were the times and what were the times in your life where you experienced what we would call a mistake. Where if you could do it over again, you would. You would do it so differently. But still needing to come to the reconciling truth that you can't go back in time and redo it, but you can learn and accept and go forward. So when I look at those times, and I'm telling you, for my own experience, some of them make me cringe. Like, I'm like, oh, so just thinking about it, my first instinct is like, oh, a little cringe. But when I settle into the cringe, that could be a new phrase, settle into the cringe. But when I settle into the cringe, when I go into it, I'm eventually able to find compassion for myself and say, I only did what I knew at the time. And even if, in my own case, some of those times were I knew better but didn't listen, then that's still all I knew to do. I knew to not listen to what I did know within me, and I ignored it. How about that? So there are times where I look back and I know that almost all, if not all, of the moments that I wish I could do over, it's because I negated to listen from within. Even in high school, when I really didn't even understand fully, I don't even know if I fully understand it now, but if I didn't even as deeply as I do now understand the importance of listening from within, I can still say that there was that little tiny subtle inkling that would say something to me. That hint, that whisper, that subtle nudging, and how I blew by it. And sometimes I didn't even want to explore and be still to notice what that inner wisdom could be leading me to. I wanted to just plow forward with what I thought would be okay. And I can even look back to my 20s and say, wow, how much in my 30s, how often I listened to the voice of people who did not bear the responsibility of the choice that I eventually made. And I needed to learn that. And I have lots of examples of how I had an opportunity to learn it. And it took me a while. I don't know if any of you are like that, but sometimes there are certain lessons that I needed to learn more than once, more than twice. But now I have a reverence for the lesson and a reverence for how subtle that inner knowing can be, and how to make time to listen from within to that inner guidance, that inner wisdom that we all have access to, but often we have not been trained to cultivate how to not only hear it and know it, but how to respond accordingly. And so every time I responded not accordingly, every time I responded in the opposite direction, it offered an opportunity for a lesson. And even though there's a cringe factor related to it, there's also behind the ouch, there is a thank you. So remember that too. Behind the ouch, beyond the ouch, there is a thank you. And I'm grateful to have learned lessons that have humbled me and have taught me how to enter into a deeper place of compassion and how to let go of a lot of judgment that most often was the accumulation of the residue of a conditioned culture that said I needed to have it right the first time. And now I can be gentle with myself. And guess what? When we're gentle with ourselves, we can be gentle with other people and patient with other people and know the lessons we know now, we didn't always know. And as we're a part of the tapestry of other people learning their lessons, we can also hopefully make space to be patient and know that none of us knows the timing of when we're going to grow. You can't put a seed into the ground and know exactly when it's going to come up. There's a space for patience and trust. And there's also a space for cultivating, encouraging, supporting. But until we've done that with ourselves, we can't even begin to do it with other people. So I invite you to think about, what is that mistake that makes you want to cringe, that you wish you could do over? And I want you to go into the cringe until you can reach that place of ouch and thank you. And truly think about, what are you grateful for in that lesson? What did it teach you? How have you grown and expanded because of it? What have you been able to pass on to someone else because of it? And that is why we can go beyond a cringe, beyond an ouch, and enter into a place of thank you.